Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss the National Daily Analysis and UPSC topic analysis on 23rd of October 2020. So we are going to discuss these important topics for the day. The topics that we are going to discuss are, just give me a minute. Okay, we are going to discuss Blue Dot Network. We will understand about RT-PCR test. We will understand about asteroids. Then we will understand about the Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, which is also known as Udan scheme. Then we will understand about the production linked incentives scheme. Okay, production linked incentives scheme. These are some more important topics for the prelims exam. Okay, so we are going to discuss these things in detail. Okay, so the thing is, Blue Dot Network, this is an issue that can be connected with IR, okay, and economy. RT-PCR test can be connected with science and technology. Asteroids can be connected with science and technology again. Then Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, it is a regional connectivity scheme. It is a government scheme. And then production linked incentives scheme, it is again a government scheme. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss today. Okay, so let us move to the first topic now. The topic that we are going to discuss for the day is, okay, just allow me a minute, this slide is opening up. Okay, the first topic that we will understand is Blue Dot Network. Okay, we will understand why Blue Dot Network was in news, and we will understand what is Blue Dot Network and how it helps the developing countries. Okay, so why Blue Dot Network was in news? Because a group of US senators in a letter has asked India to join the Blue Dot Network. Okay, so a group of US senators had asked India to join the Blue Dot Network. What it means that India has not yet joined the Blue Dot Network. So let's understand what is Blue Dot Network. Okay, so Blue Dot Network, it is a multi-stakeholder initiative that aims to bring governments, the private sector, okay, and the civil society together to promote high quality trusted standard for global infrastructure development. Okay, what it aims to do, it wants to promote high quality trusted standards for global infrastructure projects. Okay, and like it is a multi-stakeholder initiative. What do we mean by this? That not only the governments are participants to Blue Dot Network, but like government, private sector and civil society, okay, they all can participate in the Blue Dot Network. Then it is led by the US, okay, United States International Development Finance Corporation. Okay, so it is led by the United States International Development Finance Corporation. The Blue Dot Network was jointly launched by the United States, Japan and Australia. Okay, so we have already discussed, like from United States it is the International Development Finance Corporation, it is in short known as DFC. From Japan, this is Japanese Bank for International Cooperation, and from Australia it is Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Okay, so this particular Blue Dot Network was started initially in November 2019 on the sidelines of the 35th ASEAN Summit in Thailand. Okay, but why recently it was in news? Because a group of US senators has asked India to join the Blue Dot Network. Okay, so we will understand more about Blue Dot Network, what it intends to do. Okay, we are going to understand all these things now. So what Blue Dot Network does, okay, the network will certify infrastructure projects that demonstrate and uphold global infrastructure principles. Okay, so it is a certification standard. We can talk about like it is a certification standard. So Blue Dot Network will certify infrastructure projects, okay, that demonstrate and uphold global infrastructure principles. The certification by the Blue Dot Network will serve as a globally recognized symbol of market driven, transparent and financially sustainable development projects. Okay, so this Blue Dot Network certification will act as a globally recognized symbol also. Okay, by proposing a common standard of project excellence, the Blue Dot Network will attract private capital to infrastructure projects in developing and emerging economies. Okay, so this is what the Blue Dot Network does. Now we will understand like how Blue Dot Network may be beneficial for developing countries. Okay, so what are the benefits of Blue Dot Network for developing countries like India? Okay, a developing country that agrees to implement the Blue Dot Network standard signifies that the government values high quality infrastructure that benefit local communities. Okay, so when a developing country agrees to implement the Blue Dot Network standards, it simply signifies that the government values the high quality infrastructure that benefit local communities. The Blue Dot Network will provide countries with clear project standards. Project companies and governments that meet or uphold the standard can build public confidence in their commitment to good practices. Okay, so this is what the Blue Dot Network signifies for our developing countries, how it is how it is beneficial for developing countries. Now if you want to learn more about Blue Dot Network, I have included two reference links for you. One is from the Blue Dot Network itself, second is from Indian Express. Okay, so these are the links that you can follow to understand more about Blue Dot Network. Okay, now having discussed this, let us move to the next topic, which is known as RT-PCR test. We will understand about RT-PCR test. Okay, so what is RT-PCR? Okay, so there is something missing in this particular slide. Okay, so no need to worry. RT-PCR stands for reverse transcriptase, okay, polymerase chain reaction. Okay, it stands for reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction. Okay, then this RT-PCR test was started by Kerry Mullis. Okay, so she has developed or he has developed this RT-PCR test. Kerry Mullis, this person is an American biochemist. Okay, he invented the RT-PCR technique and he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1993. Okay, under this, copies of segment of DNA. Okay, DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. So under this, copies of segment of DNA are created using enzymes called polymerase. Okay, so we will understand what happens in this particular RT-PCR test, why it is significant. So I am going to tell you the exact mechanism how RT-PCR test is conducted, what are the different steps, okay, that are involved in it. Okay, so here what happens, a chain reaction happens. Okay, so the chain reaction signifies how the DNA fragments are copied exponentially. Okay, one is copied into two, then two are copied into four, and so on like that. Okay, and apart from this, a fluorescent DNA binding dye called the probe is added to DNA, which shows the presence of the virus on a fluorometer. Okay, so a fluorescent DNA binding dye, okay, called the probe is added to the DNA, which shows the presence of the virus on a fluorometer. Since coronavirus is made of RNA, which is ribonucleic acid, so coronavirus is a RNA virus. Okay, therefore to detect coronavirus, RNA is converted into DNA using a technique called reverse transcription. Okay, so reverse transcription is a method, and here we use reverse transcriptase, which is a polymer kind of thing. So using that reverse transcriptase, okay, what we do, we convert the RNA into DNA, then we multiply that DNA to make multiple copies of DNA, because using a few copies we cannot exactly tell how whether the presence of virus is detected or not. Okay, for detecting a virus we have to be very sure about it, and RT-PCR is considered as a global standard for detection of the this coronavirus. Okay, RT-PCR is considered as a global standard for detection of coronavirus. Then a reverse transcriptase enzyme. Okay, so this RT stands for reverse transcriptase enzyme, converts the RNA into DNA. Okay, so copies of the DNA are then made and amplified. So as you know that RNA is a single stranded virus. Okay, so when we want to make DNA out of it, so what we do, we convert it into DNA by doing making it go through the reverse transcriptase process. Once it is converted into DNA, then what we do, we multiply the copies of DNA, so that we have billions of copies of DNA, and then we conduct the test whether the presence of a particular sequence of a virus is there in that particular test. Okay, PCR stands for polymerase chain reaction. Polymerase chain reaction means what we are doing, we are conducting chain reaction so that we can multiply the copies of the DNA that we have created using RNA. Okay, so this is all about RT-PCR test. Then now we will talk about like what are the general requirements for conducting the RT-PCR test. Then we will understand the steps. Then we will understand about the mechanism for conducting those things. Like if this coronavirus test is being conducted, so what are the general requirements? Okay, there should be safe facilities, trained personals must be there, right equipment should be used, ample supplies of the sequence of the virus must be there, then good laboratory practices should be followed. These are the general thing. Okay, now apart from this, let us see what are the steps involved in conducting the RT-PCR test. First step is known as sample collection. What happens? Sample is collected, okay, from a person like who may have this particular virus, okay, who may have that particular virus. So the thing is sample collection, we collect the sample through swabbing, okay, through swabbing. Like we may put up a particular thing on the mouth of the person, whom we are conducting the test on. So swabbing will be done by a medical professional using a specialized swab tool to safely obtain samples of the patient's nose and throat. Okay, so this is known as swabbing. It is a step in the sample collection. After the sample is collected, like what we do, we store the sample in a safe place, okay, in such a manner that like even if the sample has positive RNA virus, it should not affect other patients. Okay, so this is the thing. So swabbing is done first, and we store the sample in safe environment. Okay, so you can read from this infographic that I have included. And apart from this, we will understand some of the steps that are associated in conducting the test. Okay, so this is RT-PCR testing. R is small r stands for real time. Okay, real time reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction testing. Okay, so what happens in this thing? There are various steps associated involved. So like in the next infographic, I have included all these steps that are taken for conducting this particular test. Okay, so after they store the sample, after they have the sample, they mix it. Okay, so mixing is done. The extracted material will be combined with the solution from the test kit. Okay, so whatever sample we have taken from the person, what we do, we mix it, okay, from with the solution from a test kit. So we have a test kit. So what we do, like we put it into different test kits over here. Then what we do, like after putting into test kits, as we know that like under swabbing we collect minute sample of the from the patient through swabbing. But the thing is, it has to be multiplied. We should have sufficient number, like sufficient quantity of the virus, so that we can exactly detect whether the presence of virus is positive or negative. Okay, like that. So after then what we do, we amplify this thing. Okay, so here a qPCR, which is known as quantitative PCR machine, will then amplify the target gene sequences in the reaction or mixture inside the tubes. Okay, so we amplify. Okay, we amplify. Are you understanding? Then we determine the results after amplification. Okay, and amplification involves copying the segments of the genetic material, making it possible to analyze the RNA, okay, even from a small sample. This is the thing. Okay, these are the things. Then we determine the results, and it takes like around 48 hours to conduct the test. So the thing is, development is happening. So with the development, the time taken to conduct the test may reduce in future. Okay, this is the thing. And apart from this, we will understand the step-by-step processes that are followed here. Okay, so we had already seen. Okay, so let's consider there is a patient. From the patient we have collected the sample, okay, which is known as like we have swabbing. Okay, so after collecting the sample, then we store it, then we extract the viral RNA from the patient. So this is step 1. In step 2, what happens, we like pass this particular RNA sample through reverse transcription. Okay, so what reverse transcription does, it converts the RNA into DNA. It converts the RNA into DNA. after we convert the RNA into DNA, what we do, we make a DNA template for PCR. Okay, we make a DNA template for conducting the polymerase chain reaction. After making that particular template, what we do, we pass it through like primers. Okay, so primers bind to the DNA. Okay, primers means like similar copies of the sample bind to that particular DNA. So a small primer sequences have big impact because they are so specific. And after the fifth step that we do is like DNA is built of those primers. Okay, so the thing is, after making it bind with the primers, then we make DNA is built, okay, from those primers. Okay, primers are simply multiple copies of the same DNA. Okay, and multiple copies of that DNA sequences are created. Okay, this is next step, sixth step. And finally, what we do, more light or fluorescence is measured every time a probe binds in that copying process. Okay, so this will help us to detect whether like the presence of that the particular RNA like virus is there or not in the sample that we have got. Okay, so this process is known as real-time RT-PCR test, RT, reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction. Okay, this is the seventh step and this is the last step. So what is PCR? Polymerase chain reaction. So like here information is given. So PCR is a common technique for repeatedly amplifying a specifically identified segment of DNA in order to create enough copies for a signal to be detected. Okay, so this is the thing. And reverse transcription we have already talked about. Okay, transcription means conversion. Okay, reverse transcription means like conversion of RNA into DNA. But transcription means conversion of DNA into RNA. When we do reverse, so RNA is converted into DNA, and we know COVID-19 is a RNA virus. So reverse transcription is conversion of RNA into DNA. The enzyme that does reverse transcription is called reverse transcriptase. Okay, the enzyme that does reverse transcription is called reverse transcriptase. And after then, this step. These steps required for the viruses with RNA genomes. Okay, the genome must be converted into DNA to work with the DNA polymerase in the PCR assay. So this is all about the RT-PCR test. I hope you understood it in detail. Okay, and so we discussed about primers. Okay, what is the work of the primers and probes and all. Okay, so I have included an infographic for the primers also. Okay, so what does primer do? Okay, using IDT primers and probe for COVID-19 testing. So here they have talked about like primers recognize the SARS-CoV-2 DNA, and then probes recognize the SARS-CoV-2 DNA, and after then multiple copies are made from that particular virus. So you need to just go through this particular infographic to get little detail about this particular thing. Okay, so primers and masters mix work together to make billions of copies of the SARS-CoV DNA and IDT SARS, like these information are given over here. So having understood the RT-PCR test, okay, let us understand the next topic, which is asteroid. Okay, so what are asteroids? Okay, recently like asteroids were in news because like so there is a mission of the United States of America. Under that mission, like they were studying the asteroid Bennu, and so one of their those vehicles have actually reached the asteroid Bennu. So that's why we are going to analyze like what is asteroid and what are different types of asteroids. We are going to understand about this. So we are understanding the fundamentals of that thing. Okay, we are not going into the current affairs. I have included links for that thing, so you can read it from the link itself. Okay, so what are asteroids? Asteroids are rocky objects that orbit the sun. Okay, asteroids are rocky objects that orbit the sun. As you know that planets are orbiting the sun, but asteroids are also orbiting the sun. But the thing is, asteroids are much smaller than the planet, and they do not come under the category of planet because of many scientific reasons for this. So these are rocky objects that orbit the sun. They are much smaller than the planets, and they are also called minor planets. Okay, asteroids are also called minor planets. And according to NASA, okay, 9,94,383 is the count of the known asteroid. Okay, so like this is the official data from the NASA. They are saying like this is the like number of asteroids that are actually orbiting the sun. Then the remnants from the formation of the solar system over 4.6 billion years ago. Asteroids are the remnants, like these are the like a small like a small things that were that did not form into a this thing planet. Okay, so these are the remnants after the formation of the solar system 4.6 billion years ago. Then we will understand what are the different classes of asteroids. Okay, so asteroids are divided into three classes. What are those three classes? The first class is those that are first class is those found in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Okay, the first class of asteroids are those that are found in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and which is estimated to contain somewhere between 1.1 to 1.9 million asteroids. Okay, so this this asteroid belt over here, around 1.1 to 1.9 million asteroids are there. Then if we talk about second group of asteroid, it is the second group of asteroids are known as Trojans. Okay, Trojans or Trojan. Okay, which are asteroids that share an orbit with a larger planet. Okay, so these are those asteroids that share an orbit with a larger planet. So like they orbit along with the planet itself, but like they are themselves not the not planets, and they are not moons of the planets. Okay, they orbit like in the same orbits as a planet. Okay, these are known as Trojans. And apart from this, there is a third class of asteroids also. Okay, so the third classification is the near earth asteroid. Third classification is near earth asteroids, which have orbits that pass closely by the earth. Okay, they have orbits that pass close by the earth. Okay, they are known as near earth asteroids. Those that cross the earth's orbit are called earth crossers. Okay, those asteroids that cross the earth's orbit are called earth crossers. Then more than 10,000 such asteroids are known, out of which 1,400 are classified as potentially hazardous asteroids. Okay, PHS. Then PHS are currently defined based on parameters that measure the asteroid's potential to make threatening close approaches to the Earth. Okay, so especially all asteroids with an Earth minimum orbit intersection distance. Okay, it is known as Earth minimum orbit intersection distance, MOID, of 0.05 astronomical unit. Okay, AU, or less than an absolute magnitude of H, which is 22 or less, are considered as potentially hazardous asteroids. Okay, so if you want to know like what has happened recently related to asteroid Bennu, you can follow this reference link from Indian Express. Okay, you can get the details about asteroids here. Now, having understood asteroids, we will learn into some more details about asteroids. So like we have already discussed potentially hazardous asteroids. So the thing is, what happens when an asteroid comes closer to the sun or tries to enter into the atmosphere of the sun? So those asteroids like frequently explode in the in that particular atmospheric belt itself. Okay, so they are known as explosive asteroids. Okay, the space rock of 2019 YB4 will approach. So this is this was a current affair in the year of 2019. They have signified like what happened to an asteroid that tried to enter the surface of the earth. Okay, so the asteroid explodes, okay, with force of 30 nuclear bombs. It explodes with a force of 30 nuclear bombs. Then the speed of the asteroid was around 14,000 miles per hour. Okay, and a diameter of that particular asteroid was 86 feet. Okay, then fiery air burst of debris rains down on the earth. Okay, so this is all about like this is how like once an asteroid tries to enter the atmosphere of the earth, because of its high velocity and the resistance that is provided by the atmosphere of the earth, there is a friction. So because of that particular friction, the temperature increases so drastically that the asteroid explodes. Okay, and it explodes with a force of around 30 nuclear bombs. So this is all about asteroid. Okay, so I have included some information about 4 largest asteroids that have been discovered till now. Okay, So we are going to talk about those largest asteroids. Okay, so the 4 largest asteroids are Ceres. Okay, so its radius is around 939 kilometer. Then Vesta, okay, radius around 525 kilometer. Pallas and Hygiea. Okay, what you need to remember, you just need to remember the name of these asteroids. Okay, Ceres, Vesta, Pallas and Hygiea. We don't need to focus on radius or diameter of an asteroid and all. The name of the 4 largest asteroids are Ceres, Vesta, Pallas and Hygiea. This is all. Okay, we need to remember, we need to learn about asteroid. Now, having understood this topic, let us move to the next topic for the day, which is Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. Okay, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, in short it is known as UDAN. So it is a scheme. Okay, it is a scheme, regional connectivity scheme we will talk about. So it is also known as UDAN scheme or Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik scheme. Okay, so the thing is, why it was in news, because recently the Ministry of Civil Aviation has celebrated the UDAN Day on 4th of anniversary. So recently the Ministry of Civil Aviation has celebrated the UDAN Day on the 4th anniversary of the UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik scheme. Okay, and what that day is, it was 21st of October 2020. Okay, on 21st of October they have celebrated the 4th anniversary of the UDAN scheme. Okay, who has celebrated? Ministry of Civil Aviation. So this UDAN scheme comes under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and this is the logo of the UDAN scheme. You can see UDAN, UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. Okay, so this is written in Hindi and English like that. So UDAN, you can see plane is located over here. So like this is regional connectivity scheme. Its tagline is like giving wings to every Indian, like that. Okay, so we will understand what is UDAN scheme. Okay, UDAN, RCS. Okay, UDAN stands for, I had already discussed, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. It is a regional airport development and regional connectivity scheme. So under this scheme, the government of India is developing multiple airports, and at the same time it is connecting, you know, like those airports, so that like even the like, you know, normal citizens of India, like, you know, can travel through air on a frequent basis. Okay, what is the objective of this particular scheme? The objectives are letting the common citizens of the country fly. Okay, letting the common citizens of the country fly. And what are the aims? Aims at making air travel affordable and widespread, to boost inclusive national economic development, job growth and air transport infrastructure development of all regions and states of India. Okay, so what are the important things from this particular scheme that we need to remember? That UDAN scheme comes under Ministry of Civil Aviation, and it is a regional connectivity scheme. Under this, the government of India is developing multiple airports, and at the same time it is trying to connect those airports, and government of India is trying to make the airfare cheaper, so that common citizens of the country can frequently fly through planes. Okay, and it will boost inclusive national economic development. It will lead to job growth. It will lead to air transport infrastructure development of all regions and states of India. Okay, so this is all about UDAN scheme, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik scheme. We will talk about more about it. Okay, so what were the objectives? What were the other like features of this scheme? We will talk about the features. So connecting the unconnected India with UDAN. So like this was the thing, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. So we had already talked about. So what the government is trying to do, the airfare was kept at 2,500 rupees per seat per hour of flight. Means like the airfare will not be higher than 2,500 per seat for 1 hour of flight. Let's consider you are traveling from one Indian city to another city. Let's consider you are traveling from Bangalore to Delhi. If it takes 2 hours for flying from Bangalore to Delhi, what will happen? Like the maximum fare that can be charged from you is kept at 5,000 rupees. Why? 2,500 per hour into 2. Okay, like that. Then more than 66 lakh seat generated so far. Means like this was the highlight, like what the government has achieved till now. And then 13 states have got 4+ airports. Before UDAN it was 7 states. Okay, so these are the like recent developments on this. Then like 108 airports under Udan 1 and Udan 2. Okay, so like under Udan 1 and Udan 2 they have developed more airports. So the thing is, this number may vary if you see it today, and if you see after after a month or so, the number may vary. So you don't have to focus on the number, you have to focus on this particular information, and then you have to focus on the ministry under which it comes. Okay, if you want to learn more about it, you can follow these two links, one from the Press Information Bureau, second from the Airports Authority of India. Okay, these are the two links that you can follow. Okay, this is reference link 1 and this is reference link 2. You can follow these links to learn more about this particular scheme. Now, having discussed the Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik scheme, let us talk about the next government scheme, which is Production Linked Incentives scheme. Okay, this is Production Linked Incentive scheme. We will understand what to be mean by Production Linked Incentives scheme. Definitely it has to do something with the manufacturing sector. Government of India is trying to boost the manufacturing sector in India. So those those entities in India that are involved in doing manufacturing, okay, so government is trying to incentivize them on the basis of the production that they are doing. But the thing is, this incentive scheme does not encompass all the sectors of the economy. So there are some targeted sectors in the economy that are being targeted by the government, so that government can boost production in that particular sector. For example, like if we talk about mobile phones, so you know that like India has has a lot of population. So population in India is very high, but the thing is, manufacturing capacity of mobile phones in India is very low. Okay, so we are importing most of the mobile phones. What it is leading? It is leading to outflow of money from Indian economy. So what we want to do, we want to promote manufacturing of mobile phones in India, so that Indian manufacturers get benefited and India emerges as a hub of manufacturing in the world. Okay, so this is some introduction about the Production Linked Incentives scheme. We will understand why it was in news. Okay, it was in news because the government has announced that it will extend the Production Linked Incentives scheme to 8 more sectors to boost domestic manufacturing. Okay, what are the key points of the Production Linked Incentives schemes? The key points are: the Production Linked Incentives scheme is an outcome and output oriented scheme. It is an outcome and output oriented scheme where incentives will be paid only if the manufacturers makes the goods. Okay, so it is an outcome and output oriented scheme. This scheme will give cash incentives for 5 to 7 years. Okay, it will give cash incentives for 5 to 7 years, and all the sunrise and important sectors are proposed to be covered in this. Okay, all the sunrise and important sectors will be covered under this. Sunrise means those sectors that are very promising in nature, that may have very higher growth in future, and at the same time they are new sectors in India. Okay, they are known as sunrise sectors. Okay, these sectors may be automobile, networking products, food processing, advanced chemistry, and solar photovoltaic manufacturing. Okay, these are the sectors, okay, that are being considered under this particular scheme. So they have extended they have extended this particular scheme to cover 8 more sectors. Okay, so we will learn more about this Production Linked Incentives scheme. What was the need of having a Production Linked Incentives scheme? One of the need was that sunrise sectors are promising sectors, but they may need support in the initial stage. Okay, sunrise sectors are promising sectors, but they may need support in the initial stage. Once we provide support to those sectors in the initial stage, what will happen? Those sectors will grow very rapidly. Okay, so that's why it is known as sunrise sectors. Then export base can be developed in sectors under the Production Linked Incentives scheme. Then there is a growing demand in the world for diversification in supply chains, and India can become a major player in this sector. Okay, with the view to make India a manufacturing hub, the government launched the Production Linked Incentives scheme for mobile phones, electronic manufacturing, and it was extended to pharma products and medical equipment sectors. Okay, then So we will understand more about this particular scheme, the PLI scheme for large scale electronic manufacturing. Okay, so this particular scheme, like we are going to talk about like this scheme for large scale electronics manufacturing. This scheme proposes a financial incentive to boost domestic manufacturing and attract large investment in the electronics value chain, including electronic components and semiconductor packaging. Under this scheme, electronics manufacturing companies will get an incentive of 4 to 6% on incremental sales over base years of good manufactured in India for a period of next 5 years. Okay, so the thing is, electronics manufacturing companies are going to get incentivized. Okay, they are going to get incentives of 4 to 6% on incremental sales. Okay, over the next 5 years. This scheme shall only be applicable for target segments. Okay, it shall only be applicable for target segments, namely mobile phones and specific electronic components. Like when we talk about PLI scheme for large scale electronics manufacturing. Apart from this, the production linked incentives scheme we will talk about more. The government estimates that with the PLI scheme, domestic value addition for mobile phones is expected to rise to 35 to 40% by 2025 from the current level of 20 to 25%, and it will generate additional 8 lakh jobs in both direct and indirect sectors. Like directly or indirectly, they are going to generate additional 8 lakh jobs. The production of mobile phones in the country has surged 8 times, okay, in the last 4 years, from around rupees 18,900 crore in 2014-15 to 1.7 lakh crore in 2018-19. So over the last 4 years, what has happened? The manufacturing or production of mobile phones in India has increased 8 times. It has increased by 8 times. So if you want to learn more about the current happenings related to this, you can follow this link from The Hindu. Okay, so these are the things that I had to discuss today for you. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you so much for attending this session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Bye bye.